All right, guys, I am done. I'm done watching all these like quote unquote self-defense street fighting videos on Instagram, right? So number one, you got all these, I guess you could say the quote unquote Bushido Instagram ones where they go into like fake dojos, and then there's this like 70-year-old guy that has 3 guys on him, and then he does this, and then all of a sudden those guys fall. That's one aspect of it. Then second aspect of it is like people, like say in a backyard school, like after school fight, where again, I've mentioned this in other videos, but they're just leaning, throwing their hands up like this. And you know, it's kind of ridiculous because I know that it's for like Instagram and it's for show. And I'm sure like 99% of the people know that, but that's why it goes viral, because at the same time it's entertaining, and at the same time it just looks ridiculous. Like it's just funny, at least to me. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you the realities of self-defense when it comes to street fights between Instagram and actual reality of what I would actually do when it comes to self-defense / street fights. Alright guys, my name's Chris. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Sicat Kickboxing Club. And yeah, if you've been following me for a while and if you haven't subscribed yet, or if you're new, subscribe to this channel for kickboxing tips and tricks. And also like this video, share it with anyone if you enjoyed this video that wants to learn the art of kickboxing / self-defense, or just to gain confidence in general. And I also run a martial arts podcast. I do it so that people can gain knowledge from other fighters. I think it's great to get insight and learn from people that, you know, that are disciplined and been doing it for years, that you pretty much want to learn from, like kickboxing, boxing, wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, whatever it may be, or just a self-improvement mindset kind of thing. So check that out. I'll click the show links down below, and also check out chrissicat.com. Join the email list over there. I'm trying to build a strong kickboxing community. And yeah, let's get right into it. So on my feeds, right? On my feeds, since I am into the quote unquote fight game, and I train in kickboxing, and I also go to like a world-class gym, I only point that out because I want you to know that there's a big difference between even semi-trained people that's gone to a few kickboxing cardio classes, or even real boxing classes, right? And then they want to talk about it with their friends at a bar, you know? And you know what? I don't even hate on that. Like, if you went to a boxing gym and actually did the classes, I convince, and you know, quite frankly, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you to keep going, because a lot of that, it'll teach you a lot of disciplines, right? But then for the guys that went to like the boxing gyms, like I said, or some cardio kickboxing gym, and then all of a sudden they're watching you too much Instagram videos, and they're talking about it with their friends at the bar, like, yeah, this is what I learned, and now I can knock people out, bro. And this is for that, okay? So I'll talk about the first thing that I noticed in like the Instagram sphere of what I've seen in self-defense videos. Number one, I'll go into the McDojos, right? There's an Instagram page, I believe it's called McDojo. Shout out McDojo. But it shows all these fake martial arts, right? Like, I have nothing against about like Tai Chi. You know, I know it's a common practice used to move your body, and it's used in different ways, right? It's not like that's used in like a mindset kind of way compared to like a fighting kind of way. Same with yoga, right? Like, it has nothing to do with fighting, but then I think they kind of like relate to it because of the culture and, you know, the movification, I guess, in Hollywood. So with Instagram, there's that aspect of it, to where, like I was saying, there's just this guy that, you know, all of a sudden like 5 people grab him, they're grabbing him here, and then he does this with his shoulder, and all of a sudden the guy's going, oh, you know, and then he's like knocked out, and or he's fainted or something like that because of like the chi or whatever, like his inner energy. Look, I'm a guy that likes martial arts video, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. but I think it's like a symbolism movie and not actual application of like what martial arts is supposed to be. It's more like a choreographed, like beautification of the old school wushu way of like martial arts. Anyway, back to the Instagram thing. So you'll see those dojos, and then you'll see a lot of people, they will fake that, I forgot his name, but that Detroit, Michigan self-defense cop kind of guy. Look, I don't know his credentials, I don't know the guy, and I don't mean to like belittle him, I don't mean to berate him, but the thing is that like, don't listen to him, because a lot of his stuff is fake, and I don't know, I have a hard time reading him a little bit. It's kind of like, well, is he doing this? He's obviously doing it for Instagram, he's gotten a lot of views, and it's half serious, half funny, but it could get into like dangerous territory if he is serious. Again, I don't know what his intentions are, but if he is serious, that gets very dangerous for people that like actually want to learn self-defense, and if they ever get into that kind of trouble, well, that's just false information, right? But yeah, and then there's the third aspect of the street fight game, which is kind of believable, you know, kind of like, I'm talking about like that after high school fights that you have, or even like the backyard brawls that people get into. I know some of those actually, despite what people think, are very real actually. A lot of those guys, they're amateur fighters and they're trained fighters, like Street Beef, shout out Street Beefs. I think they're a legitimate kind of, they're trying to legitimize, you know, the setting and the way that people fight. It's not like two guys, untrained fighters sometimes, right? For entertainment purposes, like Rough and Rowdy, what they're doing at Barstool and stuff like that. Like you just have completely untrained fighters and they make it a whole visual thing. But it's just for entertainment purposes. But some of these backyard fights, you know, like the Kimbo days, they're real. I mean, those are real fighters, man. They're one of the toughest, they're the toughest guys. But there are some to where they'll set it up to where they'll have completely two untrained fighters. And that's what I'm gonna be talking about as far as the Instagram aspect of it, the highlight reels, right? You'll see those guys and they're obviously, from eyes of a trained fighter, they're obviously untrained, right? Because as I mentioned on my other videos, they're kind of swinging their hands like this, you know, all over the place. And all of a sudden, they're leaning back like this, right? They're leaning back like this. Kind of doing that a little bit, like, you get my point. But that's the third aspect of it, to where I think they've watched too many Instagram videos and too many YouTube videos, that I think that's what they see. But since they are untrained and they don't know the techniques to the move, they're trying to do it, but everything is second nature, right? We train these things for us to get the proper technique down. So they're doing techniques that they think they know is right on that, but then they absolutely look like a fool on video. And they know that, right? Like, people from all the three aspects that I talked about on Instagram, the fake stuff, they know that their video camera, they know someone's video has a video camera shooting them. So yeah, even though they might be in the zone of things, like the third one, you know, people are actually fighting, they're still in their conscious mind aware that there's videos rolling, so they have to show out for those videos. And obviously that goes for, you know, the Detroit cop person that does self-defense videos, and then that goes the same for the quote-unquote Bushido, like dojo, McDojo videos, right? They do it for, I don't even know anymore. I think they do it for entertainment value purposes, but again, it kind of gets in that dangerous territory where if they think that's actually real and they have a cult following behind them, that's not good. The thing that I want to talk about actually the most, if I wanted to make my very point out of this video, is that when it comes to like self-defense, in those real self-defense compared to like Instagram videos, okay, is going to be the lack of patience that people have, okay? I'm gonna say that again. It's the lack of patience that people have. And that's mainly due to like being untrained, right? It's because they're scared, they're running around, you know, like they're scared to actually stand there in the pocket like this, like like I mentioned in my other videos, they're kind of doing this, and then all of a sudden they get a false sense of, oh yeah, well the guy can't hit me because I'm dodging all his punches. No, they're just running, right? They're just running, and they're not getting anything done. And all of a sudden, those street fights after school or those backyard fights don't actually go anywhere. Again, some of those backyard fights, as I mentioned, are legitimate, okay? They are legitimate. I actually have a few training partners that's been in those, and they are real, okay? But I'm just saying, for the ones that we are obviously fake, they're, you know, again, they're running around, they're like, oh no, you know, and they're doing the kind of cholo lean back, and then they're hitting, they're throwing their hands all over the place. Back to my point, is that it's the lack of patience. I've talked about in my videos, in order to stand your ground, you have to stay in the pocket. You don't want to get hit. So you have to keep a high close guard, or maybe a guard like this, and you can't move it too far away from your face. And you have to windshield wipe depending on where these shots land, right? Depending where these shots land. Now, the reason why I talk about being patient is that in a street fight, a lot of people mistake the fact that if they throw first, and if they throw very quickly with a lot of power, they can get out of there quick just to end the fight. Now that shows a lot about the psychology of a fighter, right? Because, or someone that's getting into a street fight, because if they want to do it fairly quickly, like if they're trying to like square up with you, and then all of a sudden they're throwing, right? They have like the utmost intention to like hurt you, but then they're so like quick to throw those attacks, those quote unquote attacks that they have in their arsenal. Well, they're trying to hurt you, or maybe make a highlight reel as quick as they can. They're almost trying to end the fight as quick as they can. That's what I mean when not having patience, because they're not confident in themselves. They're not confident in their skills. They know within themselves that they haven't trained, but in their minds, they think they have, without having all the techniques and the tools and the body dexterity to be able to execute those moves, right? I mean, you know, you see someone going at, if someone comes at you real quick, like he's going, you know, he's grabbing you all over the place and he's just going crazy. Yeah, that's an intention. That means they want to end it quick. But the problem is that if someone knows what they're doing on that other side, right? Like say if I were to do it, hypothetically, if I were to get in a street fight and someone were to do that to me, now here's the main point of this video, compared to Instagram, compared to reality. Yes, I definitely use my martial arts techniques, right? In the gym that I've learned, because I mean, I train with killers all day and it's proven. But what I would do mostly is I would stay patient, meaning since I trust everything that I do at the gym, it's proven. You know, I work out with just straight pro fighters, with high level amateurs, even good level like intermediate people that don't compete. I'm confident in myself to really just stand in the pocket and withhold those non-technical moves that people are doing. Now, it's a different story if they are a trained fighter, right? If they're a trained fighter, well, you're probably gonna like square up a little bit, right? Like you're probably, because you know each other's mentality, you know the other person's trained, you kind of can predict what they're gonna do. Because, right, like we know what a trained fighter looks like if you're trained. Now, going back to my point is that those Instagram guys that watch those Instagram videos and that fake the funk, I guess you could say, you could immediately suss them out. So again, what I would do is I'd remain patient and wait for them to get tired. Yes, I'm not cocky, but I am confident when it comes to saying that, right? Because predictably enough, it's kind of like, it's like anything else. It's kind of like if you see someone in basketball and they don't know how to dribble, right? Like they're uncoordinated. I used to play basketball when I was a kid, but then if they're uncoordinated, they're doing this and then not looking up, and then they're just bases off. They're not like dribbling the ball and confident, you know what I mean? Like they're just like, and then, you know, they have a good form when it comes to shooting. It's the same thing as fighting. the way that someone stands compared to someone that actually watched like an Instagram video, like they're doing the cholo lean back, like I said, right? Like this. They're just because they think it looks good on camera, where it looks to a fighter, it looks terrible. We laugh at those things. Yeah, that's like the biggest difference. And then what happens in fighting, here's like my second point of it: stay patient, because I trust my defense and stuff like that. And I'm gonna wait for the guy to get tired, because I know within like 15 seconds of him going crazy and stuff while I'm blocking all the shots, and even if he does hit me, it doesn't hurt, because like he's doing the wrong technique. Yeah, he's gonna get tired real quick, and you can actually choose what to do with him at that point. Like, that's not good. If the other gets tired, biologically, your body can't do any more, right? Like, it can't, you're tired. Your hands start going down. All that lactate acid goes in your arms for blowing it out. And that's my second point, is that part of real self-defense and being a trained fighter is that you know how to pace yourself so that you don't quote unquote blow your wad in the next 15 to 30 seconds. We've all seen it before. You've probably gotten to fights when you were in high school or junior high or elementary school, right? Like, you know how easily you can get tired. Like, you know how easily you can get tired if you just keep going. I actually had a conversation with my friend this one time. It's kind of like, oh, I had a fight with my brother and then I was just so tired. I don't know how you could keep up. That's also a skill. That's also a skill that you learn in real life self-defense, real life training, real life sparring, real life competitive fighting. That, I would argue, that's the most important thing, is to keep your cardio at bay. Meaning you need to check your cardio and you need to pace yourself from round, I would argue, seconds, right, to the round. You need to conserve that energy. And in self-defense, it's much easier to do that, depending if the guy is trained or not, because you could gauge him out. If he's untrained, I already know what's gonna happen, right? Like, as far as like just fist fights, right? Or whatever, if we're just using our bodies. I already know what's gonna happen. I know that first of all, he's not doing this proper technique. And if I go at him, right? If I come at him like this and then he kind of flinches, it's getting to his like sympathetic nervous system, right? Like, he's gonna, he's gonna faint. That's gonna get him even more tired. While I'm pacing myself, like, I'll just, boom. What's called peppering him up, I'll just, boom, boom, right? Don't use it. Like I mentioned, like, you could use your hands in street fight, but I'd prefer elbows, right? Get close to him and throw elbows. But I throw elbows, I'd gauge the distance a little bit, maybe throw a little bit, right? Knee, maybe. But I do it at a pace to where I usually train it, to where I'm not tired. And I could go for three to 5 rounds, 3 minute, 3 to 5 rounds. Like, that's how you're trained to do it. So that's the difference, right? That's the biggest difference, I think, okay? Is that it's that people don't know how to conserve their energy because they're not trained for that. And that's a skill to be had. Yes, you can take your time, but still you need to train that at the gym so that that pacing is within your arsenal. That's even a tool, okay? And number one, stay patient. Stay patient when it comes to like self-defense. And by now, I'm talking like when you've actually watched my videos, actually, you know, kind of trained them to a T, done your repetitions, and you're confident, you've done drills, you've hit the bag, you've shadow boxed. Even as a hobbyist, even if you're not fighting, you're still levels above the guy that's untrained, okay? Just remember that. So that's going to be, besides all the crazy highlight knockouts and stuff like that, that's the biggest difference that I see, like the key differences that I see between Instagram self-defense and actual real self-defense. Now, I know there's a lot more caveat to it. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but this is my main point. Those two main points of reality versus like the Instagram stuff, those are, for me, what I see that people in Instagram need to, if you really want to learn self-defense, need to really improve on, and what's wrong with the Instagram self-defense space, I guess you could say, and what's actually reality. So yeah, I'll make more of these videos. I know there's a lot more that goes into it. Like, this isn't the end all be all kind of like yeah, this is what you do. Well, there's this other aspect. I know people that are trained. I get it. You know, like, you don't have to tell me. I understand that, oh, there's a lot more to that than just, you know, what you're talking about. Yes, I get it. But just for, again, focal point of this video, yeah, that's the biggest differences that I see when it comes to Instagram, I guess, highlights and actual self-defense reality. All right, guys, if you got value out of this video, like this video, subscribe if you haven't done so yet, or just subscribe if you're new to this channel for more tips and tricks on self-defense, confidence, basics when it comes to kickboxing, or if you just want to do it for fitness, you know, whatever your intention is, okay? And I'll see you on the next one.